Welcome to the Real Salty Podcast. Please join Stephanie and Caitlin as we dive into life in Florida, the good, the salty, and everything in between. We'll chat about real estate, family, sports, building a community, and all the unique things that make living in the Sunshine State so special. Plus, we'll bring on some amazing special guests to share their stories and expertise along the way. So grab your favorite drink and get ready to laugh, learn, and get a little salty with us.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another episode of the Real Salty Podcast. We're so glad you're with us today. It is Monday, May 12th, right?
Yep.
Yes.
May 12th.
Monday, May 12th. So we are knee deep in the month of May. The weather's really starting to get hot outside. Somebody said something to me the other day. Maybe it was you.
It
was you. It was. Say it again.
90 days of 90 degrees or more.
90 days of 90.
We're not there yet.
We're not.
Start counting.
We're not there
We're
yet.
not there yet.
But I had not heard that.
I heard
term.
that on the news, actually. I'm not. That is not.
Oh, you should just take total credit for it.
I will. Okay, I said it.
Motion back.
I counted for years straight and proved it.
Yeah, exactly. Foolproof, right? Eat your heart out, Dennis Phillips.
That's right.
But yeah, so yesterday was Mother's Day.
Yeah.
How was your Mother's Day?
It was so good.
Good.
It was so good. It was really good. All three of my kids are home, so that's nice. My oldest is home from college.
Yay.
Only to be leaving me this coming Saturday because he's going to study in Florence for the summer.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
To live his life.
Oh my God. I'm
6 weeks in Florence.
Oh
Yeah.
God, he's going to have the best
time. I mean, if we had not been there already as a family, and it's actually a relatively small city.
Really?
It is actually a pretty small city. It's very walkable. And had we not been there as a family before, I'd probably be freaking out.
True.
But yeah, he's leaving on Saturday and he'll be back at the end of June. But so he's back from college. Antsy as always, as anyone is when they're moving. And they're 20 years old.
Yeah.
And he, so we went to, well, they wanted to go out for breakfast, but I just think it takes so much time sometimes. And then I just end up ordering eggs and it's like, well, I'll just make them at home. I don't need anything fancy. I just won't. And so we just ended up getting Einstein bagels, which is such a fun treat. The one that's over in Seminole, you should get some sometime. It's really fun. It's really good.
Okay, when you say fun,
it's just they have so many different types of bagels.
Okay, you're adorable because I'm like,
so much
what
fun.
does this one do that the other ones don't do?
Know,
Are they like slinging a bagel at me
there's
like that?
There's not a lot of bagel places around here.
Oh my God.
I mean, Dunkin' Donuts doesn't count. They just do.
No,
there's not a lot of bagel places.
No.
I mean, this is me coming from like the New York area where there's some from everywhere.
You're right.
But there's just not. So I think it's a fun place to go eat.
So wait, do you not partake in Panera bagels?
No, not really.
Okay.
Not really. Because they don't have a whole assortment like Einstein.
Not like Einstein. No, they don't. You're right.
They have some good treats, but no, not really. No, Einstein is pretty much where it is. But
that is so interesting to me because you know what? I'm going to be honest. I'm not a bagel aficionado.
Yeah.
So it's not like I moved down here and I'm from New York and I need to figure out where they make the bagels right? That's not on hasn't been on my list. But I like a good bagel. And I guess
bagels is fantastic.
And where is said closest Einstein bagel?
There's one over off of Park Boulevard.
Okay, well, thank God, because now I'm going to want a bagel.
Across from Seminole City Center. And you can order online, so you get there and you just grab it and go. They're always busy. Truthfully, always busy. So we just did that. Flynn and I went and picked it up, came back, as happy as can be.
Yay!
And then we went to Tampa International Mall, which anyone that comes into the Tampa area, I think that there's always a day off when they go on vacation, right? Like whether the sun has kissed them too hard and they need a day off.
Or it's raining.
Yeah. Or they just need to do something different, maybe indoors and not be in the direct heat. You cannot beat Tampa International Mall. It is so bougie, but at the same time, it is so down to earth too. I mean, they have all of the regular stores, but then they also have a Tesla, a Louis.
Yes.
A Lululemon.
Right.
They have all of the stores that you could possibly want.
Have
so
those
we went there.
A lot of those high-end designer boutique stores. Yep. They have a Benson Johnson too.
Yep,
I think
they
is
do.
it true?
Yeah.
You know, in Kansas City, there's a shopping district called the Plaza, and so this is a very historic area of Kansas City. It's very Mediterranean looking architecturally. There's a ton of fountains down there. But there's all these stores, like the stores you're talking about, that now, granted, one of the things I've overheard from the good people is that the big box stores are coming in and a lot of the mom and paws are getting eaten up. But the mall, okay, first of all, climate controlled.
Yes.
Especially if you're here in the seventh circle of hell. I'm sorry. We were just talking about August before we came on the air. And that is exactly what that feels like. Past the side. Is that during the 90 days of 90? Because that should be the 10 days of 100.
It's part of it.
Plus.
It's part of it, that's for sure. It definitely is. Well, but good. It's good. No, the last time that we usually go there every Black Friday, actually.
Really? You're those people that are brave enough?
We are, because they actually have such good deals.
Interesting.
Although last Black Friday that we went Pacific, the PacSun was literally on the floor. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't even breathe in this mess, because it was so busy. I mean, even because it was kind of rainy for those that were in town on Sunday or yesterday, it was kind of a rainy day that people probably said, oh, what can we do? Oh, mom wants to go shopping.
Let's take her shopping. Right.
Yeah. I mean, it was very busy. It was a very busy mall day. And I think I've popped in a couple times just to grab something, whether it's to go to the Apple store or whether it's just to go to Lululemon or something. I've popped in.
That's right. That's where the closest Apple store is.
Yeah. There's really no other, down in Sarasota.
Well, no. And I figured out the hard way through a person that I work with.
Yeah.
I'm an Android girl.
Yes.
We've talked about this.
It's annoying. Oh, wait, what?
I feel like it's always you people that immediately start throwing the first rocks at the glass screen of the glass house.
I just want my text to be blue when I text you.
My favorite is when I'm in a group message and I know for a fact that you all can just exclamation or whatever react to the actual message. And then if y'all like something, it automatically
is she trying to convince
me it repeats it back where it says, so-and-so liked your entire comment. And it's like, and the minute that happens, somebody goes, who the hell in here has an Android?
This girl.
Me. It's me. But hear me out, okay? So whatever insurance plan that your precious little Apple sells y'all, it can, what is it called? It's probably called Apple Care. There it is, Apple Care, because they care, right?
We're losing all of the listeners we have right now.
I'm just saying is that when something happens to your Apple phone, you can't just drive your happy butt to Verizon. You can't just walk into the T-Mobile store. You gotta go to the Tampa International Mall.
Or you can text them actually.
And they can set you an appointment to drive to the Tampa International Mall.
They fixed it over the phone now. They've gotten really fancy with their deals.
Oh, I'm sure they would love to fix anything remotely.
Yes.
But all I'm saying is if something goes wrong with my Android, I walk into the closest T-Mobile store and throw it to Billy Bob, and he takes it back.
Billy takes care of it. I get that. There's no Billy down the street. I do understand that. But yeah. No, but anyway, there is an Apple store there.
There is an Apple store there.
It's a really, really, it's definitely a hot spot to go.
The good people listening to the podcast that don't live here, though, it's good to know on vacation. Because if you're
right
here,
down the street from the airport, too. If you need,
you better hope you drop your phone outside the airport, because if you drop it here on the beach, it's going to be a long trip to the Apple store.
It will be a really long trip. But if you have to go to the airport and you just need a couple hours to kill,
that's very true.
It's a fantastic. It's really one of the best malls out in the country. And unfortunately, I'm an avid mall goer.
Well, you come from a background in retail.
Yes. So whether it's retail or whether it's even in the outlet sector, I know them all. I know them all. So it is one of the best ones. So it's a treat for us to go.
She still does secret shopper recon. Don't let her fool you. There's somebody just throwing her cash under the table to say, why don't you just go shopping today and see how it is?
I wish. Yeah. No,
that's what we call really mailbox money.
That's right. That's right.
How do we get some of that?
And then we went over to my parents' house last night for dinner. So that was nice.
Good.
Yeah, it was a really nice Mother's Day. So I can't complain.
Good. I have to say my ungrateful dog got me nothing.
Oh, man.
And henceforth it's Trent's fault.
Oh, no.
I'm just kidding.
That's right.
I'm just kidding. I really have.
You are a mom when you're a dog mom, too. I mean, you really
I don't
are.
push. You know what? I am, but at the same time, that's not a holiday that I usually passively.
How would you classify yourself at getting up at 3:00 in the morning and letting the dogs out? I mean, there's no other classification.
You know what? I've never felt more like a mother than with his geriatric state.
Yes.
The dog. Yeah. By the way, I should say the dog.
Not Trent.
I love you so much. But No, the dog, I mean, when you talk about getting up at 3 a.m. to let the dogs out, unfortunately at this point, he is, happen. It's like watching The Circle of Life, where it's like that old man where we have to now, we're debating, should we just put a diaper on him? Should we just in case? Because if we can't take his collar off, because if we hear the jingle in the night, one of us is throwing the covers off to get up, because even though I love my washable Sam's Club rugs, shout out. So members mark, if you want to give us a sponsor, just saying. But I love them dearly, but I also don't love washing my rugs.
No one wants to do that. The end of a dog cycle is just, the end of it.
But it's part of the life, and it's part of the responsibility as a pet parent, and you just deal with it. I mean, that little Bissell commercial where her little, so oh my God.
It's so cute.
Okay. Anyway,
it was we had a good Mother's Day. Yeah, I had an aunt uncle in town last week, so that was fantastic. Yeah, they were down from South Carolina, and we were having this whole conversation about how much more red it is up there in a lot of ways. Like, we were just talking about how, like, the difference between where they lived in Indiana. I obviously lived in Connecticut for quite some time.
Oh yeah.
Grew up in the Chicago area, and just how you move, and how, everyone's a transplant in a lot of these warmer areas at this point.
It's very
because
true.
People want to live in a climate that they want to live in.
Correct.
And just how much different the state is from what they grew up in. And it's, most of the time, it's just you start to notice it a little bit more than what you did before. But we had it was my dad's sister and her husband. And we just had a fantastic time with them. So that was really, really nice as well.
Good.
Yeah, it was really, really good. And then, and we went to the movies on Friday night. We had a pretty...
You guys are so good about going. What did you see? I gotta know.
Thunderbolts.
Okay.
It's like the new Avenger movie. It's another Avenger movie, so... some people like it, some people don't. The backstory is always what I like about it.
Gotcha.
And it was comical, but it was all this like kind of psychotherapy, which just is right up my alley. So sorry.
That seems incredibly dark and serious for a superhero movie.
It was totally dark and twisty, just like Meredith Grey always talked about in Grey's Anatomy. Okay. Dark and twisty, but it wasn't. I actually liked it because of that. So, but yeah,
it was a cliffhanger.
It was a cliffhanger. It was a cliffhanger. But then one of the other things I wanted to make sure that we mentioned is that I talked to one of our, we were talking to one of our clients today.
Oh yes.
About the permitting in Madeira Beach as kind of shifting over to the real estate piece of it.
Yeah.
And Madeira Beach is just doing such a fantastic job of every piece of she's finally getting to the remodel piece.
Correct.
Well, I guess I should say that we had her house on the market during the hurricane.
Yeah, just to give the good people a little backstory with it, because, we ping pong back and forth on our topics very quickly, so I know sometimes that can be hard to keep up, right? Two girls walk into a bar.
Yeah.
And we're in the bar. So,
and they come out with a podcast.
And come out with a freaking podcast. What happened? So anyway, you love it. All right. So Stephanie and I actually had co-listed a single family home here in Madeira Beach. This was before the hurricane. Seller was motivated, but at the same time, she was not in a hurry. Okay. Yes. So we had the time at the time. Yeah. Right? We had the time at the time. So obviously everything changed last fall, as it did for so many people along the Barrier Islands, personally for the both of us, and including our lovely seller. So now her home has been off the market, because basically during all of this unrest and all of this, what are we going to do? What am I going to do? What should I do? Figuring everything out, a lot of houses went TOM, or temporarily off market, or withdrawn conditionally, whatever you want to call it, because it flooded. So now she has navigated herself through. This is some of the things that she's been relaying to us, is that her happiness with the efficiency that she's experienced personally with the city of Madeira Beach, and getting through her permit process, and getting through the demolition, the approval for the rebuild, all the fun things. And so now it's really becoming closer to reality of the fact of, I'm going to put this back together. What am I going to do with it when I'm done?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry. And that was a long prelude, but exactly this is where we're at. So
it's exactly right. Yeah. And she's there's not a lot of houses on the market right now that have been put back together, unless they were kind of done in the middle of the night.
Right.
And so every step, like you have to have permit come out and make sure that plumbing is okay, electric is okay.
And it's like a check, you can move on.
Checklist, yeah.
Check, you can move
Are
on.
you using
check,
the right
you can move
screws?
On. In the drywall.
In the drywall.
And yeah.
And it has to be like, you can't just say, I'm ready. It's literally
it's all done.
A step.
Right. Yep.
And they have been truthfully, like, you can call and schedule it and they're out like the next day.
That's fantastic.
It's really, really, they've just seemed to have a total control. I mean, the permit process, I mean, she did, like, I will say that at the beginning stages, as we all warned everyone,
yes,
she did get a little screwed. The guy that pulled the permit never pulled the permit for electric.
Okay, so we should be clear. We're talking about from her contractor, not the city necessarily. So the contractor that she originally had apparently didn't cross all the T's or dot all the I's or submit what was necessary.
She wanted, it wasn't even a contractor. She just wanted to make sure she could go back and live there because it's 2 floors. So she wanted to live on the 2nd floor.
I got you.
So she got her electricity taken care of. And so the gentleman that she used not only charged her, but then charged her for the permit too, that he never pulled.
Oh.
So she had to backpedal, and the city was fantastic. That's the only reason I mention it. Everyone was doing drastic things at a drastic time. I'm not saying that he was in the right.
We're not saying he was in the right. Perhaps it wasn't malicious. Perhaps he had 27 other jobs.
On it, and he took care of it for her. Yeah, I mean, he was overwhelmed as well because, he had like 20 other jobs.
He had 27 other jobs. All of them, except for hers, maybe had to have a permit involved.
And as a city, they weren't ready to manage all of it yet.
No.
I mean, in some degree, everyone was at fault in a lot of ways. So, but the city didn't
feel like there was just a lot of catch up.
There was
a lot of catch up to be played by everybody.
Either. So, she's really, really excited about it. But so we've been having this conversation about how do you relist?
Yes.
During this time, and we've mentioned this in previous podcasts that there almost needs to be a separate button on MLS that says like water damage, just so that you can pull that trigger out, because unless you look at the pictures, you don't know. And even if you look at the pictures, some people are still making these offers on a couple other properties that I have that it's like, you do know this was totally damaged, right? I put it in the public remarks. So, but anyway, it's just really, I think it's really exciting for Madeira Beach, and they should be really proud of themselves for the work they're doing.
100%. I have to say, in some of the last, town halls, some of the Q&A, some of the things that we've been attending and paying attention to, where we're starting to get a more idea of a consensus of how each one of these individual towns is doing. I don't want to be like, hey, we're better than you, but I have to give credit where credit is due. And granted, again, there was a very long period of catch-up time, a catch-up of understanding what the process would be and what the process has to be, right? And so that was not only for residences, but that was also for our good people in there fighting the good fight in the city. Yeah. So one of the things that's interesting, though, is as realtors, and again, living on these beaches, doing business, having a business on this beach, doing business on this beach, I got to take these off. The types of listings, it seems as though our precious barrier islands literally do look like chicken pox right now with the amount of listings that we have, which is not usually something that builds consumer confidence.
No, it doesn't.
Normally. But at the same time, strike me down. Again, we are not saying it's over. We've turned the corner. It's on the up. But we're starting to see these signs. For example,
people making some good decisions
of standing strong, making solid, good thought decisions because they feel comfortable now in the total grasp of exactly what happened and what can I do about it now. Because there was a lot of people that were making emotional knee-jerk reactions.
Very, and we warned them all the time.
Yes, and we cannot blame those people, though, for making that reaction with the information and in the state of mind that they did at the time they did.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of people in the neighborhood, too, where it was like, oh my God, Ken and Betty just us all.
Yes.
But it's not that. You can't think like that. But it's now that it has been 7 months.
7 months.
Almost 8 months.
Yeah. October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. Yeah. Almost 8 months.
Almost 8 months. Okay. So there's a lot of people that I know. I cannot believe it's almost been a year. the fastest, longest 8 months of our life, right? So the thing that we're starting to see though is that, like, for example, when our seller came back to us and said, we're almost there.
Yep.
I have decided that I'm probably going to want to put it back. Should I rent? Should I sell? What should we do right now? What works for her life right now? Long story short, it involves Stephanie and I going back to the MLS and starting to look at comparables and the comps that we call it in the industry to see where we need to come in. Again, our seller is lucky enough to not be in a desperate situation.
Yeah, fortunately.
But
and so, but it's just a lot.
But it's time. Yeah. And she had said when she originally came to us, I don't want to do another hurricane season. And little did we all know that the hurricane season that was upon us was going to be the hurricane season of the century.
Even for any other reason than she just didn't. She actually just wants to move.
She just
wants to move. She doesn't.
But when we're looking at the listings that are currently available in this chicken pox of a map, what we're starting to realize is that since it has been almost 8 months since the hurricane, the types of listings when it comes to the single family home options or the duplexes, multifamilies, we're not talking condominiums right now specifically, but we're talking about the fee simple private residences that you can own. And short of going through so many of the details of the listing itself, and like Stephanie said, visually the photos.
Yeah, it's like the photos, I feel like.
Because it's also hard because you got a lot of people too that are throwing up the pre-hurricane photos.
Yeah, I saw the other day.
In the 50 photos they have listed, the first 27 of them are the house before the hurricane.
Yeah.
I've started to notice other places that are putting in, this is what the living room looked like. And then the very next picture is, this is it demoed out right now.
Which
this
is
the
so
primary.
Funny
this is the primary. This is the bathroom. This is the bathroom.
Which is so funny because, I mean, I have another listing that it's vacant.
Yeah.
So it's like they're reversed because it's vacant, but I had it virtually staged in photography.
Yes, right.
So it's like a virtual staging but this is reality.
And it's all torn out.
It's all torn out.
But it could be.
But it could be.
But it could be.
But then I have another client that's got one on the market. It's a duplex. And I'm so impressed with him because we decided to put it on the market. Great. He just wants to see what will happen.
Okay.
But in the meantime, he's applied for Elevate Florida.
Hey, good for him.
He's working with a mortgage broker to see what he can get just as a small loan to get it replaced, to do all the work himself.
Oh, okay.
So if it doesn't sell at the price he wants, that he feels like it's valued for, which, who knows in some degree. Right now, everything is, who knows. He's still like moving through pieces in the background.
Yes.
And I just think it's like one of the coolest experiences to watch him like, well, I'm still going to figure this out.
Yeah.
Like this may not, I'm going to put it on the market because I'm confident that like I do want to sell it.
Right.
But if I have to fix it.
Right.
And do this first,
I'm willing
to do it.
And luckily enough, I can.
Yeah. And I mean, and I've enjoyed the process so far because I'm helping him with a lot of the electronic pieces of it because everything is electronic, which I think is one of the hard parts about.
Gatorade.
Yeah, that's a Gatorade. What's going on in there? But I think that's one of the hard parts about the electronic piece of it is that some people are just not tech savvy.
Well, and with so many things that were apply online,
yes.
And there were opportunities to physically come in person.
Yeah,
but then we have to think
they're weekly, Monday, Tuesday, come in person.
Are they?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
In Madeira Beach,
that's amazing. It's awesome. Shout out to Madeira. Like, God,
I know.
Guys. There's so many other towns that there's so many other things going on right now that do not contribute to them being able to start taking care of their residences in a timely manner. That, again, we're all in this together, and we're not saying that anybody was perfect. I mean, God, again, this was the storm of the century. Hopefully.
Yes.
Over. Never again.
Yeah.
June.
Yeah.
Like, as I crack my neck, I'm like, June is literally right around the corner. So, but
it's usually about August that we see something. So we got some time. Just throwing that out there.
My God. Yeah. Okay. On that note. So speaking of town things though, so we have to mention that we actually did get invited to a John's Pass Seafood Festival business owners feedback
which I love.
meeting, right? Mm-hmm. So we had talked in a couple episodes earlier this year about how the John's Pass Seafood Festival, which we brought you some amazing footage from as well, was held in March of this year, which as a business owner in John's Pass, I know that we talked about a lot of things that were effective with your business and how it was great to see the pass busy again, but essentially it wasn't necessarily
the pass for the businesses.
Correct. And it wasn't necessarily, look, we're bobbing and weaving after the hurricane year. Yeah. And so we weren't ready in January. We did what we could, and yay for all of us.
And they didn't want to cancel it altogether. And I do appreciate that. And, I always take a neutral, let's see both sides of everything. And the whole thought process was that let's get us all ready by the end of March.
Right.
So that we're all ready. But, the seafood festival isn't something that business owners down in John's Pass would say, I need to get ready for, because it's not necessarily.
Not necessarily.
It just isn't like, are we busier? Yes. But is it good business? No. Does it cause issues for deliveries and things of that sort? Massively.
Got it.
So the idea was that Madeira Beach thought, well, let's make sure that we bring people back to the pass so that they know that it's open. So a lot of the,
which I think that goal was successful.
It was very
because
successful.
You and I both talk about all the time about how many people I overhear just walking through the village. I can't believe it's here. I thought this was completely gone. Yeah. And I'm like, where? Who told you this?
Yes.
Go back and tell them and everyone else that that's not true.
Yeah, and a lot of the potential outlook is really, it's hard to quantitate it, essentially. Like, was it beneficial for us? But I know that they did say, so it's on the 22nd.
Yeah, the meeting that we're
Beach Brewery at 9 a.m.
Shout out to Madeira Beach Brewery because they did a lovely job actually hosting and catering the Mayor Q&A meeting that we went to a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
I don't know what they're going to cook for us at 9:00 in the morning, but I'm interested. Hey man, if they want to make a Cheech and Chong donut breakfast option,
oh my God, that would be so fun.
Yeah,
they always do something. So, but they're going to host that. I think it'll be really good for the businesses to feel like they have a voice.
Yes.
They've already said...
especially for the businesses well, not necessarily, well, kind of like yourself, where it's not a tangible object buy. Yeah. And again, most of the vendors that rent those spaces in front of the shops along Village Boulevard, they don't have a business present in John's Pass regularly.
No.
Okay. Now I was happy to see, for example, one of the specific stores that I saw that had a booth presence right out front of their store was things, etc.
Yeah, they do offer that to you, which is really awesome. Like the town always says, if you want to put a booth out in front of your store, you have first dibs.
Okay.
They're very good about that.
Well,
they really do an amazing job with it. But traditionally, the last week of March, no matter when Easter is, which is when it was held this year, is the number one weekend of the year. So we definitely don't want it to be that way next year. But they've already said, as they were going through and handing out the flyers, they already said it wasn't going to be in March. So they're proposing October, which they've done before, and probably, I want to say
5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, because so we did do one in 2020, and that was in January. So I want to say 2019 was the last year that they did it.
That sounds right.
Well, would they have? No, it might even have been 2018 because they wouldn't have done one in October of 2019 and then January of 2020. And they, oh wait, no, they didn't. I bet you it was 21. Actually, I don't know. I have to think about this.
A couple of years, but it used to be during the fall. And the thing to stress is too, after everything we all just went through with the fall hurricane season, one of the major driving factors, my understanding is, of the leadership that was in position at that time was get it out of October.
Yes, because of
we keep getting pounded from these hurricane events or these inclement weather events, because also now we know, even if that big is 100 miles off the shore, conditions are right, we're still going to be affected majorly.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But my thought to you is, and again, we'll have to see what the good people have to say at the actual meeting. But do you think that they'll hurry up and try to do it this October?
Well, that's a good question, actually.
Because what? We're going to do January next year. Maybe January next year, and then also in October, and then begin the October.
Maybe doing 2 a year. Not necessarily seafood festival, but do something else. I mean, they know they have this amazing tourist attraction.
Yes.
They know they have this amazing vendor list. They want to continually bring people to John's Pass. I don't remember when they started doing it. It must have been 2021 when they started doing the seafood festival in January. But it was done because in like the October of 2020, they wouldn't have done that because it was COVID. It was right in the middle of COVID. But I mean, you think about when we had these hurricanes hit, and I can go through like the last 4 or 5 years of when we've had just storms hit. Not necessarily anything that has been drastic, but the wind.
No, but enough to affect the business.
Yeah, you can't have the wind taking these tents out right in the middle of the night.
No.
So I it's tough to think of October, but I understand the weather's amazing if it doesn't hit a hurricane.
Yeah, no, sorry, I don't mean to cover my face. I just saw this in the thing, but I'm literally just about to bury my face because it's like, God, October, man.
Well, because you think
this
about
October was so rough.
Helene was the very end of September.
The very end of September.
2 weeks later, we get bitch slapped with.
It was like the 27th of September and the 10th of October, man. It was a wham bam. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember it being 14 days, 13 days in between. It was so quick. It was so quick. But at the end of the day, I mean, you're absolutely right. When the up until last season, I would try to convince my mom in Iowa. I'm like, look, I realize it's a gamble. Don't watch the Weather Channel.
And I said that
look on Southwest. You can get your money back.
Yes.
Like if it comes down to a few days before you come, it's happening.
October's
one
of the best weather months.
But it's so
April
pretty.
and October are literally
so
the best.
Pretty down here.
It's so pretty. It's such a great time. Yeah.
September, October, November, her birthday. I had her come one year for her birthday, and she was like, "This is amazing." I'm like, "This is amazing."
That's why we live here.
But it's a gauntlet.
October.
Well, definitely not. I'm sorry, but last October because I even remember. Oh my God! I just had a flashback that in October of last year. So Milton hit on October 10th.
Something like that.
10th, 11th, 10th into the 11th or something. Yeah. Halloween weekend, the Bamboo Beach Bar in John's Pass was back open. It was one of the very few things that was open. And Trent and I went. I wore just an all black outfit. I had cute little cat ears. I took the eyeliner. And it was like, we're here.
Yeah, we're going to try.
Showed up.
We're going to try.
We're going to try. And you know what? It was literally all locals.
And it was good weather.
It was all locals. It was beautiful. They didn't even have maybe they did have their full stage set back up. But I just remember like some kind of acoustic guitar musical option band. But it was a sense of normalcy.
Yeah.
It was the one sense of normalcy that we had since the end of days, essentially.
Yeah, but so we don't know when they're going to do it.
We don't know when they're going to do it again.
March.
I think, but here's the thing. The last few years that we have had it in January, it gets so cold at night. It gets so cold at night. And those poor little vendors are supposed to stay open till 9:00, with the threat on their lease, essentially, that if you don't, you won't be invited back again. Nobody wants to be out at 9:00 because when it gets dark and the sun goes down and the wind is whipping, it's cold.
Yeah, I actually think May is a good time. Personally,
okay.
I think May is. That would be
weather-wise,
because it's weather-wise. It's
after
fantastic.
Spring break.
It's after spring break,
before summer break.
Canadians are in full steam still. They have we could do it they do like a Canadian flag weekend, the weekend before Memorial Day. I personally think that's a good time of year because you don't typically see any hurricane activity in May.
Typically.
So the waters are just not warm enough for it to I mean, that's the science piece of it. The waters are just not warm enough for it to like
really pick up steam.
And that's it's
for it to feed it.
The warm waters are like gasoline to a fire. It's just what happens. It's like the water is just too warm, and it just. Again, I'll do this in another life where I'm a weather person, but that's the reason why. Like,
you would make a really good weather girl. You would be really good. You're like, look, some shit's gonna go down today, but like, don't freak out.
Call me and text me if you need to.
Calm down.
Exactly. Oh, this is a totally different conversation, but so that's cool about the Pope.
Hey.
That's so fun.
You were one of the first people that I thought of. I was like, Chicago.
Well, so Wrigley Field put on the outside of their stadium, he's a Cubs fan.
Oh.
And so
what did the White Sox?
The White Sox were like,
Excuse me?
So they dug up some footage.
Is he a Southie?
In 2005. He's a Southie. And you don't, like, when you're from Chicago, every once in a while you meet someone that has lived in the South and North Side, but usually you decide who you like at the beginning. It's at like literally at birth.
You pick a side.
You have to pick a side.
This is Hunger Games. There's no switchies. Like, there's no takesy-backsies.
This isn't like a Mets and a like,
I can't even
Yankee.
Okay, so when you were talking about a walkable city like Florence, okay, and we're not talking about the professional sports teams that are in the respected cities. We're talking about the size. In my brain, Chicago
you don't walk
versus
Chicago.
St. Louis.
You can't walk Chicago.
Well, there's different reasons you shouldn't walk St. Louis either.
And there's some reasons you should not go.
And there's some reasons you shouldn't walk Chicago. Yeah. But I'm talking about the fact of, like, even when we had our French foreign exchange student, because we couldn't take him to New York, we took him to Chicago.
Yeah.
Because you see skyscrapers. Yeah. You see Michigan Avenue.
Yeah, you can just go right down Lakeshore Drive.
Exactly. Lakeshore, all the things. Anyway, sorry. But yes, the Pope.
Yeah. So, and I guess, so they have a picture of him, which 2005 at a White Sox World Series.
Drunk. No. Sorry.
No.
Sorry.
He didn't break bread at the
sorry.
At the White Sox.
That's the only thing they can do.
Yeah. So they show a picture of him there. Then they find the footage of it. And so someone texts him truthfully the day. He's an avid texter, I guess.
Oh.
So someone texts him, Chicagoans want to know Sox or Cubs, and he replied back very simply, Sox.
Done.
So, but we'll still claim him. But then it's like the Pope.
But
I think it's kind of cool. I think it's just fun.
You know what? It's exciting. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the first American Pope.
I know.
Ever?
And he's younger.
Is it ever?
Ever.
Okay. I'm done.
Now, granted,
my family literally just freaked out because I didn't know for a fact that it was forever.
Oh,
that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, it's a third.
I watched him walk out on the balcony.
Yes.
Sorry.
Good job.
Thank you.
He only spent a third of his life in the States.
Oh.
And then he spent a third of his life in Peru. And then he spent a third of his life in Italy.
Now, was that in the papacy? Like, he got sent to Peru and then he went to Italy?
And he's actually only been a cardinal for 2 years.
But he grew up in Chicago.
Yes. He grew up in Chicago. Then went to Villanova. And
Philly. Okay.
So the Knicks are saying this is our year because they have 3 Villanova people
on the Knicks. It's a sign.
Yeah. Well, everyone likes a sign. But anyway, I think it's, it was mentioned as his name, but everyone said no exciting. Because he was from USA and the USA already has enough dominance in this world, and because he's younger. I mean, he's going to be 70 this year.
Great. I hope he sticks around a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, and so I don't know. So I think that's
stop putting the ones that are already in heaven's waiting room in power, in place of the power, whether it has to do with religion, politics, all the good things.
Exactly.
Stop it.
Exactly. And he seems like he's got a good sense of humor. I mean, he speaks 3 languages, so
good.
I just think that that's kind of cool. And we've mentioned
there's a particular leader in particular that I hope that he is just as bust his chops about.
Yes.
And makes his wife laugh, because I never see her laugh.
No.
We listen and we don't judge.
Well, that could create lines if you laugh.
That's true.
That is true.
Straight face.
That's right.
Straight face. That's
right.
But
yeah, so I thought that was kind of a fun thing too.
I think it's very exciting. You're absolutely right. How could we not mention that?
Yeah. We mentioned Catholicism quite a bit. And
we have.
As we both have grown up in that era. And
yep.
I think an era.
I was just about to say, I love how you're referring to it as an era.
Whenever I want to just like say that it might be a phase, it just needs to become an era.
It was an era.
Yeah, think Swift.
It was, you know what I will say, there's a lot of things that are romantical about the Catholicism faith.
There is.
I appreciate the pomp and circumstance.
I do.
I love a good tradition.
I do.
I love a good parade.
And I
love a good costume and the formality of all of it.
Yeah.
It was beautiful,
it was
actually.
Gorgeous.
But did you know, were you watching when they were waiting in Tiananmen Square? St. Peter's Square.
St. Peter's Square.
God, I'm the worst. See, this is why there's 7 candles and all times lit for my soul. Hopefully, they're still lighting them. So, no, but they were like waiting and like all the joy and the emotion and the different people from different countries and languages that were going on. It was just so beautiful. Mm-hmm. And then at the same time, they had a camera now. Of course, everybody's got a drone. Who doesn't have a drone during their program, right? And it's called the Vati drone.
Oh.
The Vati
it's
drone.
Got a nickname. Wow.
Oh, yeah. Okay. The little announcer guys kept saying, oh, there's another great view from the Vati drone. And blah, blah, blah. But the Vati drone, I don't know. There was just something about the inflection in this guy's voice where I heard daddy drone.
Yes, right. Oh my gosh.
There's the daddy drone. That's and I was just like, where is RuPaul when you need her?
Right.
It's like the daddy drone. Where are we doing?
Right, exactly.
But no, the Vati drone. So, I mean, I think it's amazing that he also is up to date with current technology. Yes. He's a texter. I mean,
yeah, so when Cooper's going to Florence, as I mentioned earlier, he's going to try
tell him to go.
Yeah, he's going to
do a tour of the Vatican.
Yeah, well, so we've been there before, so that's fortunate for Cooper.
Okay, can I just get adopted into your family at this point? I promise I'll learn a useful skill that one of your 3 kids doesn't have.
Like falling on the lawn?
Yes.
You could probably do that. Yeah, you can do that.
I will give you must-see TV footage every night that I come home. I promise.
That's right. Yeah. So we, one of our employees over at Woody's studies abroad. And he has been since fall of 2020. So he got his undergrad done. He lives with monks. Truthfully.
What is he, Batman? What are you?
Yeah. So he lives with monks. And he got his undergrad, and now he's working on his graduate work. So he's been living there since fall of 2020, and then he comes home for the summer and works for us. This is such a sweet story. And then when he goes back, he's a street performer. So all he does is grab his guitar and sings for all the tourists. Can you guess what the number 1 song is?
Shut up.
And he plays it all the time because it's what everyone likes. Perfect by Ed Sheeran.
Ed Sheeran.
Yeah. So, but he does that. So he was like our tour guide when we went over there. So when we went over there, it was January of 23. We picked him up. It was like we had another kid, but he was our tour. He was our tour guide the whole time, and we saw all these things that we wouldn't have seen because of him.
It's insider trader information.
Yeah. So Cooper and him are friends, and so Cooper's going to go visit him.
And you know what? Even better.
Yes.
Dude, the kid's been there?
Yeah.
And he's got a friend over there.
Yeah, so he was in class when the white smoke happened.
Shut up.
And then, like, professor, a.k.a. priest, was like, class canceled, everyone go to the Vatican. Now. So they all, like, darted over there.
Oh, my
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We never do anything cool here.
I know.
Sorry.
We just...
We're so young in the scheme of the age of the world.
Cool.
Like,
I know.
Yeah, we never get invited to anything cool.
We don't do anything cool.
Shit. All right.
Exactly.
Well, on that note, no, just kidding.
We're going to try doing cool stuff.
We're going to go be cool, man. Like, here's what I'm telling you. I lost my passport in the hurricane. I got to get back on that. I will say I lost less documentation than Trent did. Shout out to Ziploc because mine was. If you want to sponsor us too, I'm all about it.
Gosh.
All I'm
saying,
shout out to Ziploc, and then we'll let the good people go. But when we cut open our cube safe, that it was our fault, was on the ground. it looked like the Titanic safe where they finally cut it open and Rose has been
Nothing was in
lying
there.
the entire time and the diamond's not in there. Anyway, shady bitch. So my birth certificate, a couple other important documents and such, my mom's will, all of the things I had apparently put in a Ziploc. But past Caitlin messed up and just zip her little passport into the safe and shut the door. But Trent lost a lot of things. I don't think he's actually legal right now.
He might be. Well, don't tell Ice that.
Oh God, no! We are not going down that rabbit hole. My heart cannot take that. No, so we'll keep you people good and updated.
Yeah.
When we do attend the seafood festival, we'll get the insider information, let you know when that's been rescheduled to next. I feel like next time we really do need to talk a little bit more too about the fact of what's going on with condominiums in the area.
Yeah, we definitely will.
And we need to retouch back on the fact of now that a lot of people have been put back together, how is this going to affect the market with houses that are still demoed out? Yeah. So, of course, we appreciate, that's right. Of course, we appreciate you guys joining us for another great episode. Please give us a good follow on our Facebook page. I hate to get angry with it, but we have a Facebook page now. Our Instagram page, we can be found on YouTube at Real Salty Podcast. Anything else for the good people?
No, that's good. Thanks for listening.
All right, guys. It's so good to see you. Thanks again. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye. Us.